James, no matter what you do, will you ever really be satisfied? I have had that said to me more times than I can remember. Welcome to the Rise to Thrive show. I am your host, James Boardman. And if you are coming through, please do let me know in the comments below. Let me ask you a question, and I want you to answer me in the comments. Don't be a lurker. I want you to answer this question. Do you ever really feel satisfied? Do you ever really feel satisfied? Or sometimes everything you do, is it just not enough? You can put some context into your answer, but it would be great to read whether it's just me or whether other people go through this, that enough is just never enough. So I'm quite an ambitious person, I would say. I'm quite a driven, passionate individual in business, in health, in relationships, in my own craft, in my own personal development. But I do suffer massively with never feeling satisfied. Never feeling like I've quite reached the levels that I want to reach. And it becomes quite obvious to other people as well. Nothing is ever good enough. The standard that I set myself 4 years ago, I get to, and guess what? We want something else, right? And this is something that I see quite a lot with a lot of people in terms of actually with impatience. I want to get to this particular point in my life. When I get to this point in my life, I'm going to be happy. I'm going to do things different when I get to this particular point in my life, when I get to this particular milestone. You ever said that? And you end up getting to that milestone, boom, and you want the next thing. I worked with a businessman once, very, very, very successful businessman. And he said to me, when I was 20, my aim was to earn £1 million. I want to earn £1 million. Then my life will be content. Okay, then I'll have everything that I want to in life. I can start living the life that I wanted to. He got to that million. He's an old boy now. He then said, I wonder if I could make 10 million. So then he went on this mission to create 10 million. He created 10 million. And then he asked himself, I wonder if I could make 100 million. And he went on to make 100 million. He's a really old boy. I PT'd him like maybe 4 years ago, and he was telling me this story of never feeling satisfied. He was always looking for the push. He was always looking for the drive. He was always looking for the next opportunity. And whatever it was that he was working to was always his driver. But he just never felt satisfied. And that's what was his fire, his rocket fuel, to try and achieve that next level, that next milestone. And the fact that he never felt satisfied was his driver. Is it an unhealthy thing? Is it a healthy thing? Can it become a bit of an obsession? I think it's a personal preference in answer to that question. I personally look at things in terms of the different pillars of my life and kind of look at business and go, I'm never really satisfied because I always want to push. I always want to grow. I think that's in my character. Dig beat, let's go. That's in my character. Down, good girl, down. You know, my values and principles are pretty much based around how far can you go with this? And it's the same with my health. And I kind of feel that if we didn't have that edge, I would call it an edge to ourselves and our journeys, would we push ourselves into uncomfortable zones? Would we push ourselves to our limits? I don't know if we would fully. Again, that's a personal preference question. If we did feel satisfied about the things that we achieved, would we become complacent? I'm not putting a spin on this to say yes you would or no you wouldn't, because I think it really comes down to the individual. But it's food for thought in terms of what drives us in our everyday life. We don't feel like we're achieving something. Why is that? Is it because we're actually not showing up? Somebody put in a challenge last night, I get so frustrated because I don't achieve any of my personal goals because I don't do them. Well, actually, the driver should be to just fucking doing them. To actually just showing up to them, right? The other question that we have to ask ourselves, are the things that we are setting ourselves exciting us enough in life? The goals that we set, the things that we want to do, the direction that we want to go. Is there an element of that when it comes to not being satisfied in our daily lives, in the mornings that we wake up? In fact, could you say to yourself when you wake up in the morning, once you've had that first 5-10 minutes of just waking up, are you raring to go? Are you raring to go? Are you focused and hungry to achieve the things that you want to achieve? But for me personally, never feeling satisfied, never feeling like anything that I do is good enough. Maybe that's the wrong terminology. Maybe when I look at the things that I do, where I'm always wanting more. I'm always wanting that next level. So I do 100 and I think to myself, okay, could I do a 200-mile race? But then you start getting into silly talk then, and then you start risking your injury and your health and the time that it takes you to consume you. Then you start thinking, could I do a half Ironman next month? When I come out that 100, I considered doing a half Ironman. And that really then sets my expectations way too high for the level of conditioning that I'm at. And then that could cause, obviously, me to crash and burn at a half Ironman. So it's really difficult to nail this, never feeling satisfied, feeling like there's always more in the tank, feeling like you're wanting more in the tank. And I think it's really important to recognize it, whether it's something that you harness or whether it's something that is an obsession or whether it's something you can control. Do you know what I mean? Is it sad that we never feel satisfied? Do we feel satisfied in some areas of our life? Maybe not in others. And I think this morning's topic is not really about guidance or mentorship. It's really just about raising an awareness of the subject. Do you know what I mean? Because it's something I always discuss with like my partner or my friends, because sometimes it frustrates me, but sometimes it fires me up. And it depends what side of the coin you're on. But I'd love to know your thoughts on this. It'd be really interesting to read what you think of this. Is this something, do you ever get to that point where you're never satisfied, where enough isn't enough? You know, when you never get to that milestone that you're trying to get to, and then you're like, wow, it's just not enough. I want more, I want more, I want more. And does it affect you mentally, emotionally, like in a bad way, or does it affect you in a positive way? I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know.